This is a little follow-up to video number 129 with the question, how can I become an interesting person? I focused so much on how we stopped being interesting that I forgot to mention a few things we can do or a few things we can focus on that will make us more interesting. One of them is, don't be afraid to travel alone. It is nice to go to a place with friends and have a good laugh, but if they're not available, or if you're interested in a particular place or country, it's okay to go alone. You learn more about the country and about the culture when you are alone, and because you are alone, you actually meet more people, and this is one way you get to know more about the culture. So then in a conversation, even though you're not talking about that specific culture, because you have had experiences that are different from your culture, you have more things to talk about. You don't just talk about the weather, and you don't just agree with someone, because you have experiences. So I don't want to say always travel alone, but do not be afraid to travel alone. You will learn more, and it really helps you to become much more interesting. You ask questions, and you're not just going to go out for a drink and get drunk with your friends in Ibiza, thinking that is a good time, or thinking Ibiza is Spain. So look at the world map and ask yourself, what country would I like to visit? And go. Get up and go. Tickets are very cheap these days, unless you're going all the way to Australia. Another thing is, I'm going to start with don't be afraid to, because this way I'm not telling you what to do. Because you see, no matter how much we want to, we simply don't have the right to tell people what to do. This right does not exist. So I'm going to start the phrase with, don't be afraid to read a book. Don't be afraid of books. They don't bite. Go and get a book. Go to a bookstore and see what would you be interested in. And don't necessarily go for the best sellers. You see, the biggest reason a bestseller becomes a bestseller is because they have told you that this is a bestseller, and then everybody goes and buys it, and then it becomes a bestseller. It's like when the people who run the world want us to know something, they create a little video, and then they tell us, they put it on the internet, and then they tell us, this has gone viral. And it's only got a few thousand hits. But after they have told us it has gone viral, then we all click, and then it does go viral. It's something like that with bestsellers. Go to a bookstore, just browse in there for half an hour or something, and notice what topic you find interesting, and get the book. And then get another book. Try and read one book a week, unless of course it has 1,000 pages. Because this also makes you an interesting person. Not that you know a lot, but you see, books do something to your mind. They create more passageways for you to think in. For you and me, of course, everyone, right? For us to think in. And that way we do not only think through one corridor, one passage. And No need to get books that are interesting to other people. No need to even tell other people what you're reading. Go and read whatever it is you like. The most boring subjects, if you like them, they will enhance your mind. And again, they will make you interesting. Again, we will start with, don't be afraid to do yoga. I heard from someone, but I'm not 100% certain about this, but I heard from someone that knows a lot about the Eastern practices, that yoga actually means intimacy. You become intimate with your body. You are focused on your body and your breathing. So there's a yoga studio almost on every corner these days. So if you... See, I don't like advocating and advertising things. I did yoga for about 4 months in my life. It did make a very big difference. It did help change my life. But after that I got bored and I stopped. But I know that yoga makes a very big difference in your thinking, in your body, in your posture. And again, this will make you a more interesting person. So I would highly recommend yoga. I think I mentioned in the previous video to live simply. I might not have said those particular words, those exact words. What I mean by live simply, I don't mean have nothing. Just ask yourself, what is it I really need? And have only those things. There's nothing wrong with materialism. Nothing whatsoever. It is unconscious materialism that blocks us. Because we are focusing so much on it and very little on us. So I'm not against materialism, but unless you have a family, children, you don't need that many things. You really don't. Get yourself a small studio apartment in the center of the city and live your life. Don't work for the rent and the bills. And don't use phrases like, what if I bring people home? You know what? With all these coffee shops we have these days and all these nice restaurants, you do not need to bring people home. Also, really, how often do you bring people home? You don't need big apartments if you're single. If you're not single, become single. But that's another video altogether. But yes, live simply and try and live in the center of the city so you will not spend time commuting and money commuting. Another thing that will make you interesting, this might not make direct sense. Love your city or move to a city that you love. Again, live in the center. Become part of the city. Don't just see the city as a means for you to work, to go to your job, never looking around, never looking at the buildings, listening to music, coming home, watching TV. Yes, by the way, throw away your TV if you have one. Literally, throw it away. You do not need it. The TV is designed to stop us from thinking, to keep us from thinking. No need to make it bad, but you don't need it. If you want to become an interesting person, throw away your television and go out. Go out a lot. You don't need a lot of money to walk the streets. That's what I mean by go out. You don't need to wear expensive clothes and go to clubs. That's not necessarily going out. You can do it if you like. But be out. Don't drive to the supermarket. Walk to the local store and buy what you need. And do not separate spirituality from physical things, from material things. The most spiritual thing in the world for me is my coffee. I don't put anything above my coffee. And I'm very happy. Make your city your religion. Really. Just say this to yourself if you like a city, of course. Say to yourself, let's say, I'm going to pick one of my favorite cities, Barcelona. Let's say you live in Barcelona. Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath and say to yourself, my religion is Barcelona. Take another slow, deep breath and notice how your body feels after you have said this. You see, cities have an energy. You are in this energy. So when you say, my city is my religion, you connect to the energy of the city. And the city will help you become a very interesting person. See, we become boring because we cut ourselves off from almost everything. We separate ourselves from our jobs, from our cities. The only thing you really need to separate yourself from is your family. That's all. Do not separate yourself from anything else. We see our jobs as a paycheck. And we say, it's just my job. No, your job needs to be your life. Don't separate your job from you. If you do not like your job, go and find another one. Go and find one that you do like. Because when your job is your life, you will be happy. You will be interesting. What else? This line that I said, make your city your religion, I actually got it from someone else. And I thought, oh my God, yes, of course. That's how I have always felt, but I never expressed it. I never thought of it like this. But when I'm in cities, I usually have one thing in mind. This incarnation was worth it. Because I love cities. I love more than one. Because of my work, I tend to live in more than one city. So this is not my original line. I did not come up with this. I took it from someone else. So, yes, this is just a follow-up. It's probably bigger than the original video because I felt like I didn't say everything I had to say about how to become an interesting person. So I will leave it at this.